Good morning, students. Myself, Professor M. A. Hippargi. Today we'll start with the module number 4, second bit of a module number 4, robot technology. Coming to the introduction and definition of industrial robot. So first of all, what do you mean by robot? See, robots are devices that are programmed to move parts or to do work with the tool. So robots are nothing but these are the devices which are run with the help of the program, the set of instructions known as a program to move the parts or to do the any work assigned to the robot with the help of the program which has been written. Now, what do you mean by industrial robot? An industrial robot is a programmable multifunctional manipulator designed to move materials, parts, tools or special devices through variable programmed motions for the performance of a variety of tasks. So here industrial robot is nothing but it is a programmable multifunctional manipulator which is mainly used to move the material, parts or any special devices with the help of the programmed motions. So initially the program has been written and that is stored into a robot, and according to that the robot is going to be perform the different tasks. So the industrial robot is mainly used in industries to perform the particular tasks. Now coming to the basic robot motions, we are calling it as a 6 degree of freedom. Now with this diagram I am going to be explain what are those 6 degrees of freedom. Now here the vertical traverse, here it is the vertical traverse. See here, this is the vertical traverse. So the vertical traverse is nothing but first of all this robot motion, it consisting of a base. This is the telescopic arm, this is the wristband, this is the yoke, and these are the grippers, right? And the motions the written in this diagram, here it is a rotary motion, here it is a bending motion, here it is a longitudinal motion, that is a vertical motion, vertical traverse, and here it is a rotary motion, here it is a twisting motion. Okay, so one by one we will discuss. The first one is the arm and body motions. In the arm and body motions, the very first one is known as a vertical traverse. See here, the vertical traverse is nothing but it is the up and down motion of a ram. This telescopic ram is capable of moving in a up and down motion. So that is the up and down motion of a arm is nothing but the vertical traverse. Then second one is the radial traverse. See here, this is the radial traverse. This telescopic arm can be moved in or out from the arm and body assembly. That is nothing but the radial traverse. So this arrow will indicate the radial traverse, the radial movement of a telescopic arm, that is known as a radial traverse. And third one is the rotational traverse. See here, this is the rotational traverse. It means this arm and body assembly can be moved on the base. Arm and assembly can be moved on the base. With respect to the base, it is going to be rotate to perform the particular task. So totally the 3 traverse we are going to be have in the arm and body motion. One is this vertical traverse, the up and down motion of the ram, the horizontal movement, that is the radial traverse, the horizontal movement of the telescopic arm, and this rotational traverse. This arm and body assembly can be rotated in a 360-degree direction to perform the particular tasks. So this is the arm and body motion. Then next one is a wrist motion. So this whole part is known as a wrist. Now wrist has got also 3 motions. One is a wrist swivel, wrist bend, wrist yoke. So first one is a wrist swivel. So this wrist swivel is nothing but here the rotation of a wrist. It is in a circular motion. I have shown here a wrist swivel. So this end gripper with this swivel wrist, it can be swivel, or it can be rotate. That is the one motion. Then wrist bend. Here it is a wrist bend. So this wrist, the next part of this telescopic arm is nothing but the wrist. So this wrist can be bend, it can be moved in this, it can be rotated in this direction, that is a wrist bend. And this one, last one, is known as a wrist yaw. The wrist yaw, it can be also, it can be rotated. So with these three rotary movements, that is a wrist swivel, wrist yaw, wrist bend, so the wrist can be moved in any direction that has got 3 degrees of freedom. So here it is a 3 degrees of freedom, here it is a 3 degrees of freedom. So totally we can say that this is the basic robot motion has got 6 degrees of freedom. 3 degrees of freedom is related to the arm and body motion, 3 degrees of freedom is related to the wrist motion. So if it is a question is asked basic robot motions, then you have to draw this diagram and you have to explain all these 6 degrees of freedom. Got the point? Now coming to the type of joints. So there are totally 5 type of joints are there: linear joint, orthogonal joint, rotational joint, twisting joint, and revolving joint. So in one figure we can explain here. See here, this is the base of a robot. This is the first link, that is the link 0. This is the link 2, link 1. This is the link 2. So the 2 links has been connected with the one joint. Try to analyze here. The 2 links are connected with the one joint. Therefore, the joint between these 2 links is the joint number 1. The joint between these 2 links is the joint number 2. And this is the end of arm where the end grippers are going to be mounted to pick and place the things. Now, joint motion. Very first one is a linear joint. That is a linear joint is nothing but here. This is input link, this is the output link. So one link has been inserted into the another, that is nothing but the linear joint. In the figure you can easily understood that how the linear joint is going to be happen. So this is the one link, this is the another one link, this is the input link, this is the output link. So these two are joint in the linear way, that's why it is known as a linear joint. Then second one, orthogonal joint. See, in the orthogonal joint, it is the O type of joint where the input and output are perpendicular to each other. Input link and output link are perpendicular to each other. That is known as a orthogonal link. Then third one is the rotational link. This is the R type of link, popularly known as the R type of link. Here, the link 1 and link 2 are joined together with the joint motion which has got the rotary in the nature. This joint has got rotary in the nature, so that the link and 1 and 2, it can be rotated about its own point. Here joint motion at a own point. Then fourth one is the twisting joint. Twisting joint is nothing but here the link 1 and link 2, input link and output link, they have joined, and here the twisting movement can be happened at the joint. Okay, so most here the in the four-wheelers, the propeller joint, it is of a twisting joint, right? Then last one is the revolving joint. Here the link 1 and link 2 are perpendicular to each other, and the joint motion has got the rotary motion at the joint. These are the different types of joints provided in the robot technology. Now, very important aspect of this robotics is nothing but the robot physical configuration. This is the most oftenly asked question in the VTU examination, that is the robot configuration, robot physical configuration. There are mainly 4 types of robot physical configurations are available. One is the polar configuration, cylindrical configuration, jointed R configuration, Cartesian configuration. Okay, so we will discuss one by one. Polar configuration. See, polar configuration is consisting of a base. It is pivoted with the help of this telescopic arm. So this telescopic arm can be moved inside the arm and body assembly. At the end of the telescopic arm, there is a joint, or we can say it is the wrist is there. At the end of the wrist, the grippers are going to be mounted. Now the motion provided, this is here it is a pivoted, so that this telescopic arm can be moved. As this arm body assembly is pivoted to the base, so this arm and body can be rotated in a 360-degree direction. Okay, then this telescopic arm can be moved in or out of the arm body, that is the radial motion, and this wrist, it can be rotated. So totally 2 rotary motion, 1 longitudinal motion, and 1 bending motion. So With these three motions, the pick and place objectives are going to be accomplished with the help of a polar configuration. Then coming to the cylindrical configuration, here it is a cylindrical configuration. In the cylindrical configuration, the base is provided with this hollow, this tube, this rod which is mounted on a base. At this tube or a rod, the arm is going to be, body and arm is going to be mounted. So here also there are three rotary motion and one longitudinal motion. See, the arm body and the telescopic arm can be rotated about the vertical slide. It is the vertical column or a vertical member. So this arm body and this telescopic arm can be rotated. This is one, and this can be moved up and down. That is the another one, longitudinal motion. Here the telescopic arm can be moved in or out of a body. That is the longitudinal motion number 2. And at the wrist, this wrist can be rotated in a two direction. It can be rotated in this direction, it can be rotated in other direction with respect to the this axes, x-axis and y-axis. So totally there are three rotary motions and two longitudinal motions. It is with the help of a cylindrical configuration. So with all these three elements, the robot can be performed in a cylindrical form. That's why it is popularly known as a cylindrical configuration. Coming to the third one, known as a jointed arm configuration. So jointed arm configuration is similar to that of the human body, right? This is the shoulder, this is the elbow, and this is the another one arm, and this is the our wrist and end effectors. End effectors are leads to our fingers. So it consisting of a base on which the jointed arm is going to be mounted. So totally here the 4 rotary motions are going to be mounted or used here. So this on the base, it can be rotated in this direction. This jointed arm can be rotated with the vertical axis in this direction. This joint can be rotated in about its own axis, and this wrist can be rotated about its own axis. So with the 4 rotary motions, it performs many operations like a pick and place operations. That is known as a jointed arm configuration. Then last one is a Cartesian configuration. Cartesian configuration is popularly known as a XYZ configuration. Here it consisting of a 3 movements. All the 3 movements are linear movements: X movement, Y movement, Z movement. So the components are systematically arranged in such a way that the robot can be performed in all 3 perpendicular directions: X direction, Y direction and Z direction. So these are the 4 important robot configurations. Most oftenly this question is asked in the video examination. Explain with a neat sketch physical configuration of a robot. So remember, polar configuration, cylindrical configuration, jointed arm configuration and a Cartesian configuration. Now motion system. So there are totally 3 types of motion systems are used in a robot: point-to-point control system, continuous path control system and continuous path robot. So first one is the point-to-point control system. See, point-to-point control robot is nothing but it is a robot which is capable of moving from one point to another point. So here the location has been already decided and the coordinates are going to be entered through the program, so that the robot can be moved from one point to another point. Suppose if the workpiece can be transferred from one workstation to the next workstation, so the coordinates of that 2 workstation has been already decided. According to that, the robot can be moved from one workstation to the another workstation. That type of movement is known as a point-to-point motion or point-to-point control robot. So many other applications like a spot welding, hole drilling, machine loading and unloading, crude assembly operations, these can be used with the help of a point-to-point control robot. Continuous path. Continuous path, it is such type of a control where the robot cannot stop at a moment. It can be moved to the continuous path according to the coordinates given. Okay. For example, in the arc welding, in the gas welding operation, in the spray painting operation, or in the gluing operation, applying the glue to the surface of the workpiece. So these require the continuous movement of a robot on a surface, and this can be accomplished with the help of a continuous path robot system. Then Controlled path robot. This is the control can generate paths for different geometries such as a straight line, circles. So controlled path robot means the prescribed different geometries like a straight line, circle, curves, high degree of these angles, which can be already these are decided. It means the generated geometries. So these according to these geometries, the robot can be moved. So the different types of motion is, one is a point to point motion where the robot can be moved from one point to another point. Continuous path means there is a continuous motion of a robot, and controlled path means already decided geometries like a circle, straight line, angles, curves, right? These type of motion has been accomplished. Programming robot. There are mainly four types of programming robots are there. Manual method, walk-through method, lead-through method, offline programming. Whenever you are using the robot for the particular operation, you have to perform the robot operation with the help of a application of a program. What is the program? Program is a set of instruction provided by the operator or a programmer to control the robot. Robot understood that program, and according to that it act, or it provide the working movements so to accomplish the given task. So very first one is known as a manual method. See, manual method is it is like setting up the machine rather than the programming. It means here manual method programming means there is no any automatic. Just you are fixing the machine. You are setting the machine without any program. So little bit programming is used here for application of for example here it is the procedure used for the simpler robots and involves setting mechanical stops, cams, switches, relays. So only small amount of control unit are used for the movement of mechanical cams or mechanical stops, switches, relays, like that. So whole machine is not controlled with the help of a program. Only the part of that particular pick and place of operations. These are mainly used for the pick and place operations where only small amount of control unit is required. That is known as a manual method. Then coming to the walk-through method. See, walk-through method is consisting of the sequence of motion provided by the programmer. So programmer usually moves along the with the robot, handling through the necessary that path which is provided by the programmer. It means here the programmer is used to operate the pre-owned path, that is a playback, that is pre-owned path, and according to that he is going to be operate the robot with the help of the program. Along with the robot he is going to be walk, means to transfer the work part from one station to another station. If the work part is very huge, then the cranes are going to be used. Now the cranes can be used to transfer the work part from one point to another point. So the operator or a programmer is used with this walk-through method to transfer the this material from one point to another point, like that, right? Then lead through method. So in the lead through method, the teach pedant is going to be used. That teach pedant is used to power drive the robot through the motion sequence. Here the pedant is usually a small handheld device with the switches, dials on the to control the robot physical movements. Operator continuously hold that teach pedant and is manually operated, and the movement has been provided to the robot according to the pedant means the switches or dials which are going to be operated by the operator. Then last one is known as the offline programming. So offline programming is nothing but it is here the operator is going to be write the program. That programs are going to be stored into the computer, and oftenly as per the requirement the programs are going to be run, and according to that stored programs, the robot is going to be perform its particular task is known as a offline programming. Now coming to the end effectors, end effectors are divided into six parts. Types: mechanical grippers, vacuum or suction grippers, magnetic grippers, adhesive grippers, hooks, scoops, and so forth. So grippers are nothing but to hold the workpiece. Okay, mechanical grippers means linkages are used. Vacuum means here the vacuum is used to hold the workpieces. Here magnetic grippers, magnetic power is used. Adhesive grippers, adhesives are used to hold the workpieces. Hooks are used to hold the workpieces. Okay, so the different figures have been shown here. These are the grippers to hold the workpiece. So robot sensors. Robot sensors are divided into three categories: vision sensor, tactile and proximity sensors, and voice sensors. So vision sensors. See, robot vision is made possible by means of a video camera, a sufficient light source, and a computer program to process image data. The camera covers the entire robot work volume, and the computer software enables the vision system to sense the presence of an object and its position and orientation. In the vision sensors are used to identify the workpieces with the help of a cameras. So camera and sufficient light of source are used to recognize the presence of an object, and that information is transferred to the robot. That is, the work is there in the mid of the way of the robot, because whenever the robot is moving in a particular path, if there is any obstacles provided in a path, that has been recognized with the help of a vision sensors. So vision sensors are equipped with the camera and a sufficient lights of source. So these lights of source, if it is provided on the obstacle, so it takes the information and send back to the robot, so that the accident is going to be retarded, or it can be stopped before it hits to the work. Then tactile and proximity sensors. Tactile and proximity sensors are the same. Here the proximity sensors are capable of whenever these type of sensors are brought near to the workpiece, the magnetic or the magnetic power, or we can say that the magnetic eddy current is going to be affected or produced. So that presence of a object is taken care by this proximity or tactile sensors, right? So ferromagnetic material is used in this proximity sensors, and if that ferromagnetic material brought near to the workpiece or any obstacle, the in the coil, the magnetic field is going to be generated. So due to this magnetic field, the intensity of current is going to be generated, so that it can give the information about the obstacle is there in the way of path of a robot, in the tactile and proximity sensors are going to be work. Voice sensors. So in the voice sensors, the voice programming, oral communication commands a robot or other machines are going to be used. Here the robot controller is equipped with a speech recognition system, which analyzes the voice input and compares it with the set of a stored word pattern as much as found between the input and stored vocabulary word of a robot. Voice sensors, in which the oral voice is used, and this voice is matched with the stored patterns, so that the obstacles are going to be recognized whether there or not. So like this, the different types of sensors are going to be used. Now coming to the robot applications. So robot can be performed in various areas, like a human hazardous environment, boring task like a repetitive task, unpleasant task, multi-shift operations. The robot can be performed 24 by 7, and frequent changeover. If there are any changes in the application or work, it can be done with help of a robot. Steady pace, there is as compared to the human being, robots are performing at a steady pace. Operating for long hours without rest, robot doesn't require any rest. Responding in automated operations, minimizing variations. So these are the some robot applications, and some industrial applications, material handling applications to move the parts from one point to another point. Processing applications like welding, spray painting, machine loading and unloading, deburring, polishing. These are the processing operations. Assembly applications like moving part from one point to another point for the assembly purposes, taking the inspection sections. Okay, these are the some industrial applications of a robot. Thank you.